Hello, good day from wherever you are watching me. You're all welcome. You're welcome. My name is Choma Odikulu. You're welcome. So just say hello, say hi. Let us know where you are watching from. Let us know where you are streaming from. What are your expectations today? You are all welcome. Just say something. Let's here with us. All right. You're all welcome to another session of We Learning, Growing. You're welcome. My name is Choma Odikulu. You're welcome to our class today. You're welcome to our book review. You're all welcome. And this month, we'll be reviewing two beautiful books. The first one is called Mindset. This is it. It's written by Carol Dweck, and the second one is called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Yes, so today we're going to start. We're going to review Mindset for the first 2 weeks and know how does mindset affect us as parents. How can we begin to change our mindset such that our mindset start to be a benefit to us, such that our mindset start to help us in achieving our goals and everything we want to achieve as parents. So we're going to learn about mindset today. We're going to learn about mindset next week, and the other 2 weeks of this month we're going to learn about grit. So you're welcome to our book review today. So let us know, where are you streaming from? Tell us your name. Let us know who is here with us so we can get started. All right, so just say something, say hello, say hi, so we will know you are here. All right, okay, I believe we'll all definitely join in the session. So while you come in, just say something, let it be engaging, let us all learn. All right, so we're going to move straight into our conversation of today. It is actually 8 o'clock on a dot, so we're going to start. So today we'll be reviewing the first session of this book. It's called Mindset by Carol Dweck. So now we're going to be reviewing the first few chapters, and next week we're going to review the last few chapters. So today we're going to be reviewing about 4 chapters, and the first chapter we're going to be reviewing on this book called Mindset is chapter 1, and chapter 1 is the mindset. Now, the future of our parenting as parents, as individuals, it doesn't start with our children. So the future of our parenting doesn't start with our children. It starts with how we think about our growth. So how do you think about your growth? It is very important because that is where everything starts. Now, we're going to learn about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. What is mindset? Carol Dweck in this book, she was trying to explain to us as parents, as individuals, why we should always have a growth mindset, why we should always go for a growth mindset and not limiting ourselves by having a fixed mindset. So she tried to explain what a fixed mindset is and what a growth mindset is. So we're going to learn what are the differences between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. How does it affect us as parents, as individuals? How does it play in our day-to-day activities? Now, a fixed mindset is that mindset that believes in abilities. Is that mindset that believes just in intelligence, and is that mindset that believes that all talents are fixed. So a fixed mindset, or a parent or an individual with a fixed mindset, is that person that believes that all talents are fixed. Intelligence is fixed. So for example, if a child, you can say this child is born intelligent. Intelligence is fixed. It's just his thing. This child is just intelligent. You could also say, someone with a fixed mindset could also say, okay, this person is a great footballer, and it's just fixed. This talent, this person was born with this thing. That person that believes that everything is fixed, you believe that abilities are fixed, you believe that intelligence is fixed, you just believe that everything, these things were inborn. You are going with a fixed mindset. But a growth mindset, a parent that has a growth mindset, is the parent or the individual that believes that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort. So the person or a parent that has a growth mindset is that parent that believes that his or her abilities, his or her intelligence can be developed through efforts. Is the parent that believes that the abilities of his child or of her child or his or her children can be developed through efforts, through, putting in the work, through learning and through persistence. So a parent with a growth mindset is the parent that believes that abilities can be developed through learning, through being persistent, through doing the work. Is the parent that believes that, you can improve, you can learn. Is a parent that doesn't believe that everything is fixed. Is the parent that doesn't say, I can't do this and I can't do this. No. A fixed mindset, or a parent that has a fixed mindset, is that parent that believes that abilities can be developed. Is that parent that believes that through persistence, through learning, you can get what you want to get. Now, most parents with fixed mindsets, have a lot of disadvantages. For example, if you have a fixed mindset as a parent, you usually fear, you always be scared. You always fear failure. You always be scared. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome, sir. You always be scared of failure because you have a fixed mindset. So you don't want to fail. You just believe that your intelligence is fixed. Abilities are fixed. So you always want to sit in your comfort zone. You don't want to try yourself because you don't want to go below your expectation or the expectation of people. So if you have a fixed mindset, you always be scared of failure because you just believe that, my intelligence is so great. It's fixed. I don't want to try. If I try, maybe I might, if I try, I might go below my standard, or I might go below the standard of people. So I better just stay in this comfort zone where I am comfortable. I better just stay in this place where I have tested and I have seen that I am doing so well. So someone that has a fixed mindset, a parent that has a fixed mindset, usually avoid challenges. That parent or that individual always sits in their comfort zone. Oh my God, I don't want to challenge myself. I am okay where I am. That is someone with a fixed mindset. A parent with a fixed mindset also seek validation. So you want people to validate you. You want people to tell you, oh, well done, you're doing so well. You're so intelligent. Oh, your child is so intelligent. Your child is doing so well. That is someone with a fixed mindset. But a parent with a growth mindset, an individual that has a growth mindset, is that that parent that embraces efforts. You embrace effort. You tell yourself that even though I don't know this thing, I can learn. I can improve. I can be persistent. I can put in the work. I can embrace, I can put in the effort and get the desired results. A parent with a fixed mindset is that parent that believes and learns from failure. Is that parent that doesn't see failure as the end. Is that parent that believes that in failure, I can pick my lessons and go. Is that parent that is not scared of trying. Is that parent that wants to build resilience. That is a parent with a fixed mindset. And today, I want to encourage each and every one of you listening to me to go on with a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. Because a growth mindset is the mindset that believes that you can learn, you can improve. It doesn't matter where you are coming from. It doesn't matter if you failed before, but you can begin to retrace your step and work on your journey. It doesn't matter if you've not read a book for a whole year, but you can start to do it. That is a parent with a growth mindset, not limiting yourself, irrespective of your past, irrespective of the things you've not been able to achieve previously, but you tell yourself that I can learn, I can put in the work, I can put in the effort, I can build resilience in this thing, and I can learn. So we must always remember as parents that our mindset becomes the model of our children's mindset as well. So the mindset we have as parents, the mindset we'll go around with, it's a model for our children, because our children are watching. Our children are picking up from us. They hear our conversations. They hear what you discuss with your husband or your wife. They hear what you discuss on the phone. They hear the kind of conversations you have with them. They are picking it up. So your mindset is a model for your children's mindset. So the question is, what kind of mindset are you portraying for your children to see and learn? What kind of mindset do you go around with as a parent? Because as your parent, any mindset you go around with will definitely be a model for your children. Now, if as a parent you believe that your child's intelligence or your child's personality is fixed, what you will do most of the times is that you will label them and you're going to limit them. So a parent that has a fixed mindset is the parent that believes that, okay, the intelligence of my child is fixed. Is that parent that tells the child, oh, you are smart, oh, you are intelligent, everything about you is fixed. Do you know, when you do this over time, you limit your child? Because most times your child will be scared of failing. The child will not just want to go below the standard. The child will just be comfortable in that position where they are. But as a parent, if you believe that, if you believe in the process, if you believe in the process of becoming, you will be patient with your children. Even when they fail, even when they make mistakes, you'll be there to help them stand up and continue the journey. So as a parent, we must model a growth mindset to ourselves. We must walk around with a growth mindset. We must have a growth mindset in our conversations, in the things we do, in everything around us. And we must also model this growth mindset to our children, because our mindset is a model, is a template for our children as well to pick it up. Thank you very much for joining us. So as a parent, we must be intentional in our conversations. We must be intentional with what we say to our children. So what do you say to yourself? What do you say to your children? So you must avoid phrases like okay, you're a very creative child. Most of us do it. You tell your child, oh, you're a very creative child. You're a very intelligent child. Oh, you're just a leader. You're just perfect. When you do this, you limit your child. Instead of praising, okay, the effort, instead of praising the outcome, instead of praising your child that, okay, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, why not begin to look at the process and praise the process? Why not begin to look at the work your child has put in that thing and begin to praise it? So instead of praising the end result, you begin to praise the process. Instead of praising the result, you begin to praise the process. For example, if your child has done a project, for example, maybe the child has done an art project in school or an assignment, instead of you coming to say, oh, you're just a beautiful artist, probably the child has drawn something and it's beautiful, instead of saying you're just a beautiful artist, you're just beautiful, you just know how to draw, you're just a good artist, why not begin to say, oh, I like the fact you were able to stay true to the end of this project? Why not begin to look at the process that got that child to the results and begin to praise the process? Why not begin to praise the effort your child was able to put in that project? Why not begin to praise the initiative, the creativity your child was able to put in that project? When you begin to focus on the process that led to the result, you're building in your child a growth mindset and you're not limiting your child. Another thing we need to do as parents, we must learn to teach our children that failure is a feedback. Even we as parents, we must get comfortable with failure. Most times it's difficult for a lot of us to navigate through failure. Most times when things are difficult, when we fail in something, we don't feel it's the end. But we must learn to see failure as feedback. When you learn to see failure as feedback, you're building a growth mindset. And when you teach your children that failure is a feedback, you're building a growth mindset. When you teach your children that failure is not final, it's a feedback, because there's something you can learn from failure. It's possible you need to work on yourself. It's possible you need to make a better decision, a better choice next time. But we should learn to see failure as a feedback and not final. Don't see failure as the end of your life. Don't see failure like, oh, this is the end of everything. No, we should see failure as a feedback. When we begin to see failure as feedback, we are intentionally building a growth mindset in ourselves and in our children. Thank you, Ma, for joining us. Thank you, Doc, for joining us. Another thing we need to do as parents, we must shift from judging outcomes to celebrating the process. Stop judging the outcome. Learn to celebrate the process. For example, if you have a child that is learning how to cook, and the child has made something, even if it doesn't look so good to you, don't focus on the results. How can you compare your own cooking or the outcome of your food to the outcome of your child? Instead of focusing on the result, instead of saying, why did you cook this thing? It doesn't look good. Why did you do this? It doesn't look so nice. Why not begin to praise the process your child was able to put in that work to get the result of that food? Why not begin to praise the effort? Why not begin to praise your child for his or her creativity? Why not begin to praise your child for the fact that the child can actually think to cook a meal for you? So as parents, we must stop judging from the outcome. Don't wait for your child to finish a project and you begin to judge and say it's a wonderful project. From the process, from the period your child starts to put in the work in doing that project, that is where you should begin to praise it, because the process is as good as the end result. The process is as good as the end result. As a matter of fact, the process is even what is more important than the end result. So for us to build a growth mindset in ourselves and in our children, we must stop judging from the outcome and we must begin to praise the process. Begin to praise the process in what you do. Don't wait till you've gotten the end result. Even as a parent, do you praise yourself for the process? You're putting in the work. You're showing up daily. You're trying to read a book. You read 1 page today. You read half page today. Are you looking at all those as something worth to be praised? Are you looking at all those as something worth for you to say, oh, I'm really doing the work? Or are you waiting to the end result? So for us to have growth mindset as parents, for us to model this growth mindset as parents, we must get comfortable with praising our efforts. We must get comfortable with praising our process. So when you show up as a parent, tell yourself, I am doing well. When you do something, praise the effort. Don't wait till the end and say, oh my God, I did not get it. Learn to praise the process. That is the message. And when we begin to praise our process, we are now building a growth mindset. And if you don't praise the process, the end, when you get to the end, you might not build enough resilience. The work is in the process. So we must get comfortable with praising our process and praising the process of your child. Praise your child. Your child is learning how to write and the child is scribbling. Praise the process. Your child is learning how to handle paper. Your child is tearing all your papers in the house. Praise the process and get the child papers to tear. Your child is learning how to sweep, but your child is not sweeping 100% as you are. Praise the process. How can you compare your own result with the result of your child? Your child is learning mathematics and your child has improved from learning double digit to triple digits. Praise the process. Your child is learning phonics. Your child has learned the first sounds. Your child is moving to the second sound. Can you begin to praise the process? Don't say, this child you cannot read. This child, when will you start to read? Your mates are reading. This person is reading. Can we begin to focus on the process and learn to praise the process? When we focus on the process, we give our children the gifts of a growth mindset. But when you just focus on the result, you tell your child, what matters is the result. I don't care how you get it. What matters is the end. But we must learn to focus on the process. In the process, that is where the learning takes place. Then that is all for chapter 1. So some questions we should reflect on as parents is that, where have I operated from a fixed mindset in my parenting? As a parent, where have we all operated from a fixed mindset? We do this on a daily basis. Sometimes you tell yourself, oh my God, I can't do this. Sometimes you tell your children, you cannot write, you cannot cook, you can't read. You tell your child, you can't jump from here to here. Most times we just operate from a fixed mindset. You just tell your child, you can't do this, you can't do this, you cannot write this exam, you cannot play the piano, you cannot do this sport, you cannot do this game, you cannot open this thing. Most times we operate from this point of a fixed mindset. Sometimes not intentional, but we must begin to retrain our brains to begin to work from the point of a growth mindset. As you parent your children, don't parent them with a fixed mindset. Begin to empower them with a growth mindset. Don't tell your child you cannot cook. Don't tell your child you can't, and everything the child can hear is I can't. That is why most of us as adults, we are scared of trying. Most of us as adults, you want to start a business, you want to start a job, you want to start something, and the voice you just hear is I cannot do this, I cannot speak. Why? Because a good number of us, we grew up hearing I can't, you can't. You cannot write a book. You cannot do this project. Now, as a parent, begin to change what you're doing. If you were raised with a fixed mindset of you cannot try, you cannot write this exam, you cannot get this scholarship, you cannot and cannot, what are you doing currently as a parent? Are you raising your children with the same mindset, or are you giving them the gifts of a growth mindset? So as a parent, reflect, what areas have you parented from the point of a fixed mindset? That is something we need to ponder on. Then the second thing we need to reflect on is, what beliefs do we need to unlearn to help our children grow? What are the beliefs that we have kept to ourselves so long that has hindered us? What are those things we have told ourselves that has hindered us? What are those things we have told our children that have hindered them? What are those beliefs we have kept onto for years, for decades? What are those beliefs you believed about yourself that you've held on to these beliefs, and you're indirectly or you're unintentionally transferring these beliefs to your children? So we need to reflect and ask ourselves these questions. Then the second chapter of this book is inside the mindset. Now, our mindsets aren't just ideas. Our mindsets are our belief systems that run our lives and run our homes. So our mindset is not just idea. It's not just something you can just, push away. No. Our mindsets are our belief systems that run every aspect of our lives, that run every aspect of everything we do. So if we must be successful in something, the first success starts with the mind. You want to achieve something. You want to write an exam. You want to do a business. You want to apply for a job. Do you know the first success is the success of the mind? So our mindset is very important. So what mindset do you bring to life? What mindset do you bring to your activities? What mindset do you bring to your parenting? What mindset do you bring to everything you do? So we must begin to retrain ourselves to come into our space with a mindset of growth, with a mindset of not limiting ourselves, with a mindset that doesn't see impossibilities, but a mindset that believes in possibilities. The mindset that believes that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So a fixed mindset will always avoid failure, as I said earlier. A fixed mindset will always seek validation. Do you know, or do you see it as parents that some of us seek validation? We want people to validate us. You want people to tell you, oh, you're the best parent. You're doing so well. Oh, I love what you're doing with your children. You just want validation. Some of us do things because of validation. Some of us do things because we are being validated. If you're not validated, probably you won't raise your children the way you are. If you're not validated, you might not do some things you're doing. Some of us read because we just get the validation from people that you're reading. A lot of things that we do, a lot of our motivation as parents, as individuals, is because of the validation we want to get from people around us. But do you know, when you constantly seek validation as a parent, as an individual, you are not building a growth mindset. Rather, you are building, or you're stuck with a fixed mindset. So we must get away from the zone of validation. We must begin to validate ourselves. We must begin to get our motivation from the inside and not from external. A fixed mindset, or a parent or an individual that has fixed mindset is always threatened by others' success. You're always threatened when you see people successful. You see someone successful, you're threatened. You see someone doing so well, you're threatened. That is a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset, or a parent or an individual that has a fixed mindset, is the person that quits easily. You tell yourself, I quit. You tell yourself, oh my God, this thing is so hard. I can't do it anymore. I quit. When you do that, you are having a fixed mindset, not a growth mindset. When you quit, you easily give up. You don't give yourself an opportunity to try. you don't give yourself an opportunity to learn, you are having a fixed mindset. But what if we begin to retrain ourselves to begin to embrace the growth mindset, the mindset that embraces feedback? You want feedback from people. You're not threatened with what other people are saying to you. You just want the feedback to learn and continue to run on your journey. That is a growth mindset. A person, an individual that has a growth mindset, you see failure as part of success. When you fail today, you get up, you dust yourself, and you continue on the journey. You don't tell yourself, oh my God, I have failed. People will laugh at me. I can't come out again. I made mistake. Oh my God. No. When you do that, that means you're not having, or you're not building yourself to have a growth mindset. When you fail, you get up. You dust yourself, you sit down, reflect. What are the lessons I can pick from this failure? What are the things I can learn from this failure that can make me a better person, that can make me to have or make a better decision? You begin to run on your journey. When you do that, you're building yourself to have a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the mindset that embraces resilience. When you fall down, you get up, you dust yourself, you bounce back. A growth mindset is inspired by the progress of other people. You're not threatened when you see other people succeeding. You're not threatened when you see other people coming to tell you, oh, you need to attend this course, you need to attend this program. You're not threatened. You're not saying that, oh, this person is doing this, how will I pay this person? How will I pay for this course? How will I pay for this? You're not threatened. You just want to learn. You're inspired. When you see people doing great things, you don't say, oh my God, yes, they want to take our money. Yes, I'm not going to pay for this course. No, you just ask yourself, how can I be inspired by this other person's success? How can I learn? What is this person doing that I can begin to learn, that can help me to be successful as well? That is a growth mindset. And that is the mindset I want to encourage each and every one of us, including myself, to build. That is the mindset we should walk around with. That is the mindset we should model to our children. That is the mindset we should go around with. So as a parent, do you normalize struggle? Do you normalize failure? When your children fail, what do you tell them? Do you tell them, oh, just go and sit down, you can't even get this? When you do that, you're not teaching your children, you're not teaching your child to have a growth mindset. Rather, you're teaching your child that what matters is the outcome, and what I am interested is you having a fixed mindset. So what do you do as a parent? We need to be intentional about what we do. Do you reflect on your failures and see the lessons you can pick from it? When you begin to reflect on your process, begin to reflect on what you do on a daily basis and pick the lessons from it, you are building yourself to have a growth mindset. So what do you do? Do you encourage feedback? Do you teach your children to respond to failure with curiosity? Or do you model to your children that failure is the end? Do you tell your child that when you fail, that is all? What are you teaching? What are you modeling? We have to be intentional with our process. We have to build and teach, model a growth mindset to our children. So the questions we should reflect on as we round up this second chapter: how do I usually respond when my child fails? So as a parent, how do we respond when our children fail? How do you respond when your child fails? Your child has just spilled water on the floor. Do you shout? Do you yell? Your child is still learning how to have a grip of the cup. Your child is still learning how to hold a cup. And your child has just, probably something happened and the cup fell and broke. What do you say? Do you insult that child? Do you tell the child how the child cannot hold a cup? Do you tell this child you're not good enough? How do you respond to the failure of your child? For example, your child has just made a meal for you. Your child is so happy, excited. Mommy, daddy, I made a meal for you. Your child is coming to serve you that meal and the plates broke and everything is on the floor. What do you say? How do you respond? It's something we need to ponder on, because unintentionally, we as parents, we raise our children with a fixed mindset by the things we say, The way we respond to their failures, the way we just see that failure is the end. Oh, you did not get this, you failed this, you tore your book, you ripped your book, you poured water, you did this, you did not cook the food well, you did not pack your clothes. How do you, as a parent, how do we respond to the failures of our children? When our children fail, how do we respond? Our response is our key. When we begin to respond in the right way, we are raising our children to have a growth mindset. Then the second question we need to ponder on in this chapter: what mindset do I model when I make mistakes? As a parent, when I make mistakes, when you make mistakes, what mindset do you model? Do you tell your children, oh my God, I made a mistake, oh my God, this is so hard, in fact I am tired, I am giving up, I have tried severally, I'm not going to try again? What mindset do you model? As a parent, you just spilled water on the floor. What are you telling your children? Are you telling your children, oh my God, I always make mistake, I can never get it? What are you saying? You just broke a plate. You are late for your appointment. What do you model? When you make mistake, when you don't meet up to your expectations, what kind of mindset are you modeling to your children? That is the question we all need to ponder on. Then the third chapter of our book, Mindset, says the truth about ability and accomplishment. Now, talent might open the door. Talent might open the door for us, but our grit, our mindsets, and our consistency is what we keep that door open. So our talent can open the door for us. The talent your children have can open the door for them. But what is going to keep that door open is the grit you have, the grit your children have, the mindset you have, the mindset your children have, and the consistency you have as a parent, as an individual, or the consistency your children have. So are you raising your children with grit? We're going to study the book called Grit this month by Angela Duckworth. So we're going to learn a lot about grit. Are you raising your children with grit? Are we raising our children with grit? Are we raising our children with the right mindset? Are we consistent in what we do as parents? That is the question we all need to ask ourselves. So we must be intentional about what we do, what we say, what we model to our children, because it's going to be a blueprint for them to also start their own journey. So what are you saying? What are you doing as a parent? Now we must always remember, success can be built. Building success, we need to put in the work, our abilities. Success is not fixed. You might say, oh, I have the talent. This person has the talent. Yes, it's good. Talent is good. But you need to keep the door of talent open. And the only thing that keeps this door of talent is your mindset, your grit, your persistency, your consistency. That is what we keep this door open. So as a parent, ask yourself, are you teaching your children to walk through failure? Or are you teaching your children to avoid failure? Are you also walking through failure? Or are you also avoiding failure? When you see something, you say, no, I'm going to fail like this, I'm not going to try. I'd rather sit in my comfort zone and try what I am comfortable with. What are you doing? Have you equated success with natural ability? Have you seen success? Have you seen people that are successful and just say, oh, these people, they are just born with it. It's inborn, it's in their blood. That is what some of us say. It runs in this family. This family, they are just intelligent. They are just smart. It's in the blood. Have you equated success to natural ability? The truth is that we all need to grow. We have to grow. Success is built. Abilities are built. They are learned. These things can be built. They are not fixed. So walk around with a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. Then the last chapter of this book we'll be studying for today is the mindset of a champion. The mindset of a champion. Now, in this book, the author of this book was trying to tell us that a good number of us, we look at so many champions, sports champions, and we just say, oh God, these people, I think they are born with this thing. I think they are just talented. We look at football stars. We look at basketball stars. We look at golf stars, volleyball stars, stars of different sports, in different sport areas. And we just tell ourselves, these people are born with this thing. They are just talented. But the author told us something different. And she said that these talents were built, they were worked on. You know, They did not just grow up. Our stars, the stars you can see all around you, they did not just wake up and say, oh, I'm born with this and I'm not going to practice, I'm not going to improve on myself. Yes, I have the talent, and they'll just show up for any event. Even from the stories we've heard, even from the people we've read about, even the stories we've heard, we've seen how these people, sports champions, how they've put in the work, how they've trained themselves. A good number of people will tell you, oh, I started playing football while I was 2, while I was 3. I started playing lawn tennis when I was young, because they know that this thing is built. Effort is built. It is not fixed. These abilities are not fixed. They are built. It's something that we can all build. We can all work on. Now, winners aren't born. They are built. Winners are not born, they are built. So you build somebody to be a winner. You build yourself to be a winner. And how can you build yourself? Through your mindset, through your sweat, through your resilience, through putting in the work. So you want to build your child to be a winner. You want to build yourself to be a winner. You don't just sit down and say, oh, my child is good in football, my child does not need to practice. No, you don't sit down and say, my child is good in lawn tennis, my child is good in gymnastics, my child does not need to practice. No, you need to practice. You need to put in the work, because if you must raise a winner, that winner is not just born like that. You must nurture that skill. You must improve. You must build yourself. You must persevere. You must be consistent. You must train yourself. So that is what the author of this book was trying to tell us, that we must have the mindset of champions. Champions are people that go with the positive mindset, are people that go with the growth mindset. Champions are individuals that believe that their talent can be built, their talent can be improved on, their talent can be worked on. That is when you look around you, you see football stars, they tell you they start to practice years and years, even before their final games, even before their final tournament, they practice every day. You hear them say things like, I'm building myself, I'm going for exercise every day, because they understand that for them to be successful, they need to work on themselves. So if we must have this mindset of champions, we must put in the work. Don't say your child is intelligent, intelligence is fixed, this child is just smart. No, you have to put in the work for you to get the desired result you want to get. So that is the message. That is the message we should all walk around with as parents. Build yourself, build your children to walk around, to have this growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. So what questions do you ask your child? Your child has played a game. Your child has gone for a competition, probably in school, a football game or a football competition. What do you ask your child? Are you just, okay, you did not score, you did not win, your team did not win. Are you focused on the end? Begin to retrain yourself. Begin to change your mindset and begin to look at the process. Begin to put in the work. Look at the effort your child has put in to get to that point where your child has gotten to. So the questions we have to ask ourselves: how do I value effort or result in my child activity or in the activities of my children? Do I value their efforts, or am I fixed on their results? So we must learn to focus on the process. We must learn to value the effort of our children. Then the second question we should ask ourselves: how do I respond when my child, or when I lose, or when I fall short? Your child has fallen short over and over again, and you've told your child this thing. How do you respond? That is the question we should ask ourselves. So at every point in time, always and always respond with the mindset of someone that wants a child to grow, with a growth mindset. That is what we should do. So we must cultivate a growth mindset for ourselves, for our children. We must empower ourselves. We must empower our children. Sorry, just a minute. Let me turn on the lights. Sorry. Just a few minutes and we will continue. All right, thank you. Okay, yes, we are back. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for holding on. We must empower our children to take ownership of their life. And one of the ways we can do that is to give them these gift of having a growth mindset in everything, in any situation they find themselves. So raise children that are resilient. Raise yourself to be resilient. Don't raise children that are fearful. Don't raise children that are scared of failing. Don't raise children that want to be perfectionists. And the bit of being a perfectionist, they don't want to try. So raise children that have a growth mindset, and raise yourself to have a growth mindset. Always believe and always tell yourself and tell your children that you can do all things. They can do all things through Christ who strengthens them. That is the mindset. That is the mindset of someone that is growing, someone that wants their children to grow. And that is our message for today. That is my calling, my message today. Go around with a growth mindset. Everything you do, your job, your parenting, always start with a growth mindset first. Achieve success in your mind first before it manifests physically. So that is it for us today. Thank you very much for joining us for our book review today. What are you going to be doing differently? What did you pick from this book review? What are you going to start to do as a parent to embrace, to walk around, to imbibe growth mindset, a growth mindset in everything you do? So thank you for joining us. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back for our weekly webinar. So see you soon. Just grab a cup of water, grab your drink, and just sit back and relax with us. We are not done yet. So thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate your time, and see you in a few minutes. Thank you.